yesterday, it spread like wildfire all across Twitter that a CryptoPunk was sold for more than $500 million. People were going absolutely bananas in terms of trying to figure out what the hell was going on. We've got a picture of the actual NFT. You could see that the bot accounts that track the price, they started to just push all over the internet. Punk 9998 was bought for 124,457 ETH, or about $532 million. Bam, green-eyed, white-haired, $500 million CryptoPunk. Crazy, right? Well, hold on a second. It wasn't actually what you think it was. Here is the type of manipulation that occurs in some of these markets. The punk was put on sale by Contract A. Contract B took out a massive flash loan. What that means is they quickly borrowed money, $500+ million, and they used that loan money to go ahead and buy the punk from Contract A. At that point, Contract A received the ETH and Contract B received the punk. So they swapped. But then as soon as Contract A actually got the ETH, they turned around and sent it all back to Contract B, and Contract B then paid off the loan. The way to think about this is, let's say that I had one contractor wallet and then I had a second. The first one, I have this punk that is sitting in it. The second one, I take out a loan for $500 million. I pay my first wallet for the punk. They send me the punk. Then that first wallet pays me the money right back without me giving back the punk. I take that money and I pay back the loan. Happens in an instant, and it looks like a CryptoPunk was sold for $500+ million, but not so fast. This was probably the same exact person or group, and all they were doing is they were using a flash loan to actually get a transaction with a very high price point. So then people would talk about the fact that a CryptoPunk went for $500 million. So you always got to be careful, because here, this is the beauty of on-chain metrics. This is the beauty of having a public ledger. Here is the exact point where we can see it. You can literally go into like an Etherscan or a blockchain explorer, and you can see exactly what happened. So part of the beauty of this entire system, this entire open public ledger, so you can see it all. And so Robert Miller here, this wasn't a real sale. This wasn't an exploit either. No one made money. They probably did this to generate a bunch of buzz about it on Twitter and troll a bit. So nothing wrong with it, nothing illegal about it. But what you can see is that it worked in terms of generating the conversation. It went all the way up to us even talking about it. But because there's a public ledger, we are always able to see it. So the CryptoPunk did not actually sell for $532 million. Now, some of them have in the past sold for millions of dollars. I don't know. Maybe they will continue to increase in price. Maybe they won't. Lots of people seem to like them. There's literally everyone from Jay-Z to others that have them as their profile pictures. And so it's very obvious that there is a culture that is coalescing around this. They find this valuable. They find it interesting. But one did not sell for $500 million. This is the great $500 million sale that never actually happened. What did you guys think when you saw $500 million for CryptoPunk? Did you think that that was absurd, or were you like, there's no way that's real?
To be honest, I really did figure that there was something wrong, because none of them have sold for even close to that, right? The highest NFT sale ever was Beeple, and it was like $60 or $70 million, right? So it's much, much, much larger than the largest ever. And no CryptoPunk had even sold close to that. And I don't even believe it was like one of the rarest ones. So immediately, I think some people said, hey, that's crazy. Some people said there's got to be something wrong. But the other thing too is, like, I don't think they were trying to trick anyone. They used the same wallet. They could have done a bunch of other things to try to manipulate it or trick people into thinking that something else was going on. I think they were just trolling, and they were saying, hey, look how, easy I can do something like this and create a conversation around it. And I don't know if that's good, right? It obviously drummed up a bunch of interest, and people were talking about it and interested in that CryptoPunk specifically. This person owns a bunch of them, so maybe there's something around that. But at the end of the day, the thing that a lot of people forget is, like, this stuff, manipulation happens in every market, specifically the traditional art market also, right? So I don't own a CryptoPunk. I don't own anything like that. I don't have any skin in the game when it comes to seeing the price appreciate. But I think it's important to point out your point earlier, which was like the metrics, the on-chain stuff, and just looking at these transaction history tell us the story, right? And users were within minutes, like literally within 60 seconds to 120 seconds, people were putting out tweets saying it's fake, this is what happened, they used a flash loan, etc. So it's very easy to tell kind of what's going on in this situation when you see the manipulation between different wallets. So if it's someone trying to drum up interest, that's one thing. If they're trying to increase the price of it, that's another thing. If they're trying to trick someone, that's another, right? But I think they were just trolling, having some fun around it and trying to drum up the conversation. I don't think anything was illegal done. And I think at the end of the day, it's probably much to do about nothing.
John?
I don't know why they did this. Taxes, anything. Look, technically, it did sell. It did sell for $540 million, just to the same guy who sold it, bought it, right? So I don't know.
On that point, I believe it'll be interesting to see, because I believe Lorva Labs took the transaction off of their record and said that didn't count, and then one of the other services left it on, and there was some kind of dispute around whether they were going to count it or not. I mean, let's be real, it shouldn't count, right?
I don't believe it should count, but in the books, technically, it did sell. It just sold to the same person the same person bought it who sold it, right? I don't know how Christie's does their auctions or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. $530 million for an NFT would be absolutely mind blowing. The people sold for around $70 million. I don't see any NFTs going for $540 million, at least not now. I'd be shocked if you started seeing NFTs go for hundreds of millions of dollars. There's rare art that doesn't even go and appreciate like that. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, there's few people in the world that could afford $500
Well, if you got a flash loan, you can afford whatever you want.
Of course. But from like a
what's the
traditional
percentage? What's the interest on those flash loans?
I don't know, but I'm sure that they didn't lose that much money if they were willing to do it.
if they were
in
willing to add
seconds.
$500 million, it's like
They say, if
crazy.
you loan me $500 million, I'll pay you back in 12 seconds.
Yeah, but the idea that this stuff doesn't happen, maybe not to this degree, but in the traditional art world is a joke also, right? There's plenty of people manipulating the price. Like Banksy's thing, for example, when the one that shredded, there's like rumors going all over the place that he basically bought it, knew that if he shredded it, it would increase in value, and then when it sold it later for a massive profit.
That CryptoPunk just doubled in value.
You think?
Oh, easy. Easy. Because think about it. What other green-eyed, white-haired one do you think about, remember, whatever? And now it's part of the story.
Well, to be honest,
one time
there was on Twitter.
It's actually very smart. They probably made millions of dollars.
There was a lot of news about it being
I got
fake,
a 90% discount?
I mean, imagine you see that, and then every time you see that headline of, hey, it sold, whatever, you don't see fake NFT sold. Like a lot of places were posting it like it was real. Like it was just a traditional sale that happened in the NFT market. And I bet people walk away with that thinking of, oh, hey, remember that NFT that sold for $500 million? People are like, oh, you don't remember that being fake? And it was like, oh, no, like I didn't see that, and talk about it or whatever. So it brings buzz into the NFT market.
It's all storytelling, right? So like the only reason why I question if it doubled is because the most expensive CryptoPunk right now or ever was like $10 million, or I forget the exact number, but around that range, right? So I don't know how much this one was worth before, but is it going to be the highest ever now? I don't know. There was reports that it's not even close to the rarest one. So I don't know nearly.
It is now the rarest.
Maybe.
It's the only one that ever was sold for $500 million.
Well, someone else could just go do the same thing now and make that not true, I guess. But
well, you got to be able to get a flash loan for $500 million.
This guy seemed like he didn't have too hard of a time doing it.
I gotta look into these flash loans. No, I'm just curious. I don't need one. But like I'm curious what collateral they do, what interest rate it is. It's an interesting loan.
Good. You can do a little.
I mean, it would be interesting to see. Like, obviously, there's an interest portion to it. If you're paying it back within seconds, then there's something to talk about there. But also the fees on a transaction like that.
That's a cool thing.
I imagine weren't pennies. So it's. If they own 7 or 8 of them, then they could obviously probably afford it. But
if you know flash loans, hit my DMs. We'll have a conversation about it.